hacia un mundo que está cambiando, con una tasa de crecimiento superior al 8,2% y siendo el segundo país más poblado del planeta.
Citroën C3 Aircross. Nuevos caminos, nuevas experiencias.
Citroën, Creative Technology.
Sí, debe ser raro volver después de tanto tiempo, Alberto. Mira, pensá que es un regalo de los muchachos para que pases otra Navidad con tus hermanos. Como hace 50 años.
Los que pasamos tanto tiempo acá, sabemos lo que te pasa. Aeropuertos Argentina 2000 es el lugar de donde salen los sueños.
Mr. Montag Singh Aliwalia, Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission for the Government of India. Many thanks for receiving us here.
Well, very nice to be with you on this program.
As an economist, I would like to know, what is your vision about India today?
I think we are fortunate we've been doing quite well. I mean, you know, we started a period of economic reforms in the early 1990s, and since then the economy has steadily improved. Before the global economic crisis in 2008, the economy was growing for about 4 years at about 9%. It slowed down during the crisis, it's picked up again. This year we think we're going to grow at about 8.5%. And let's hope that we can get back to 9% very soon.
You studied in Oxford and you graduated with honors. You have also encouraged liberalization. What do you think are the lights and shadows of this type of economy?
Every country does some liberalization at some point, so experiences vary. But as far as India is concerned, I think we've had a very good experience. Growth rates have improved. It took a little bit of time for the results to have effect. In terms of shadows, as you put it, I think there is a concern that although the growth has improved, people wonder whether the poorer people are benefiting as much from the growth as they should. I think all the evidence suggests that the growth is helping the poor, it is reducing poverty, but I think it's true that the benefits are less than they should be. So what we are trying to do now is we're trying to make sure that the growth is inclusive. So many initiatives have been taken to ensure that the higher growth leads to very visible benefits in the lower income category.
Do you think that the lack of drinking water and energy or power for the poor people is a big issue in India?
Oh, absolutely. You know, energy is something which you actually purchase, and therefore lack of energy is usually a reflection of not enough income and high energy prices. So I think if we can take care of the problem of low incomes, they'll take care of their energy needs. But water, drinking water, is a very different kind of commodity because it has to be provided as a public service. Many people have come into the cities and are living in what you would call a slum or a favela or something, and these areas are not actually, do not have access to essential services. So lack of clean drinking water is a big problem in urban areas. Also, I think in rural areas, drinking water is a problem. So that is something that we, both in urban and rural areas, we are giving a lot of emphasis.
Average income of $1,000 a year, what are the government plans to help increase that number?
Well, as far as the average income is concerned, it's probably a little more than 1,000 now, but that's just detail. We need faster growth. I mean, we're too poor a country to think that we should now stop at the level we are at. That's why we are aiming to achieve growth rates of 9% or so. Population growth is now slowing down. So with population growth slowing down to maybe less than 1.5%, if the GDP grows at say 9%, then per capita GDP will grow at more than 7.5%, at which rate per capita income will double every 9 years.
You had the opportunity to work closer in the government of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and later on you had the chance to work nowadays with Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. How would you describe the difference between both governments?
Sonia Gandhi is the political head of the ruling coalition. She doesn't actually have a position in government as such. But she's certainly the head of the ruling coalition and therefore the political head of the ruling system at the moment. Mrs. Indira Gandhi, that was quite a long time ago, I mean almost 30 years ago, was actually also the Prime Minister. I think times have changed quite a bit. You know, I joined the government when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister. But subsequently, I worked in the office of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. In a way, when Mr. Rajiv Gandhi became Prime Minister, that is when we started talking about economic reforms. And, I was one of his staff, so I know he was certainly very concerned that we need to look at our economic policies. And I think he had a very strong commitment that both the modernization of India in order to ensure that we get good growth, and at the same time they're very concerned that the marginalized people in rural areas, they should also benefit from this. And I think that concern has continued. So the big difference over time is not so much in the individuals as in the fact that the world has changed.
This morning we had the chance to be at the Indian Gate, and that looked like the Champs-Élysées. A little later we went to the mosque Shama Rashid, and we felt that we were in hell because of the poverty and the misery of the people. How do you feel you can reconcile this both opposite worlds?
Well, that's true in virtually every economy, that every economy has some parts that are very prosperous and other parts that are not so prosperous. I mean, even if you go into a very industrialized country, I just think we have to recognize the problem, tailor a number of programs so that the lives of the bottom 30% or the bottom 40% visibly improve. Now, there are many things we have to do. Provide them with essential services, better health, better education, and those are exactly the things that we are trying to focus on.
With such a fast-growing economy, inflation comes along, and sometimes maybe something even worse, hyperinflation. How do you fight inflation? Are you concerned about it?
I know that hyperinflation is a very, very serious problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Fortunately, at least in this part of the world, I know that in Latin America you've had very strong experience of hyperinflation. In Asia generally, and certainly in India, inflation becomes a problem. We've never had hyperinflation. So the average inflation rate in India is around 6% or so. Right now it's much above that, but it's coming down. So we have no doubt that it'll go down to 6%. Of course, many people would say that, you know, we ought to do better than that. I mean, try to get 4 or 5%. That's a separate issue. I don't think that high growth necessarily produces inflation. You know, I would make a distinction between growth potential and actual growth. Now, if your growth potential is going up and you grow according to your growth potential, there's no reason why you should have inflation. But if your growth potential is 6% and you're trying to extract 8% growth out of it, then very quickly you'll get into inflation. So I think the way you avoid inflation and yet have growth is that you concentrate on raising the supply side potential.